I'm going to show you how to clean and service your mass airflow sensor. This process is very similar for other makes and models. If you find this content helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I have a 2008 Nissan Frontier, but this process is very similar for even different makes and models of vehicles. It all involves a very similar thing, even though the mass airflow sensor may look a little different. So once we pop the hood, we can find the air intake, and the first sensor after that on this is the mass airflow sensor, also called a MAF sensor. The only product you can use to clean a mass airflow sensor is mass airflow sensor cleaner. This is a delicate electronic that needs specific cleaner to make sure it runs appropriately. So once you find the mass airflow sensor on your make and model, which is located right here, you remove the plug and simply undo the 2 Phillips head screws, and the sensor pops right out. So we need to clean the mass airflow sensor to help the engine run smoother and potentially increase miles per gallon. This sensor calculates the air fuel mixture on the intake side of things and adjusts your fuel to air mixture accordingly so that the engine can run it as smooth as possible. So once we remove the cartridge, we can then view the resistors that we need to clean off through the access hole ports, which you can see here. The one on the bottom of the front, the couple on the back, and then the most important through the side here is where we're going to spray that mass airflow sensor cleaner out of the can. So with the mass airflow sensor being on the intake side of things, it can get kind of caked up with crud. That's why we use this specific cleaner to remove all that debris that may be on the mass airflow sensor so that it can calculate the air coming into the engine correctly. So you can see here, I'm just spraying it down pretty thoroughly, tilting it up on all sides to make sure that the mass airflow sensor cleaner does drain out of it, and then simply shaking it off lightly and then letting it dry. I let it dry for a good 15-30 minutes, and while that's drying, I quickly clean off where the mating surface was for this sensor. It was just dusty, but you can see here how this goes in one way. You need to make sure that that access port for the mass airflow sensor is reading it based on the flow of air going into the engine. It runs over those sensors and then continues on through the intake. So it only goes in that way. Make sure it's in there nice and firmly, then secure those Phillips head screws back in, just nice and snug, making sure they're not loose. So I like to do this every 10,000 miles or so, or at least with an air filter change. And this is part of the normal maintenance routine. Just make sure that plug is on there nice and snug, close the hood, and hopefully you feel the engine running a bit smoother or maybe even see some increased miles per gallon. So if you found this content helpful, please subscribe to the channel.